What's poppin', everybody? Thank you guys so much for tuning in to yet another Tastemakers Pod. Y'all know how we do, talking about CHH culture as well as the big culture, large hip-hop, music, news, you name it. To my left is your girl, Trish. Dag is light-skinned Corey. And right here is Brina. And again, they call me Quote. Let's do what we do. We got 3 topics for you guys, and we will promise, like your pastor, not to be before you long. I'm lying from the jump. Am I lying from the jump?
Nope, you ain't lying.
We ain't gonna be before you long.
This gonna be white church. It's white church tonight.
Okay. Let's see what we can do. Let's get right into it. No doubt. Our first topic, our icebreakers. Y'all know how we do. Yo, your man Kev on stage has been just hammering in this grits debate, and the interwebs have been just giving him straight Hades because Kev admitted that he put in sugar and butter into his grits.
That's how you're supposed to do it.
Now, so this it's all coming out, and it's all coming out from the jump. Let's go ahead and put this to a vote. Seagoss, you already said your piece. Let's hear that again. So sugar or salt? What we doing, Seagoss?
Listen, everybody knows if you was raised right that you put sugar and butter in your grits. No matter grits, no matter cream of wheat, any hot cereal, you're putting sugar and butter in it. I don't understand. I don't have no desire to put salt in my grits or my cream of wheat. Why in the world would anyone want to put salt in their grits? That just don't even sound right. Like, who raised you?
Like, I'm trying to figure this out. Is it regional? Is it regional?
I think it is regional.
Is this regional?
I think it is.
Because, I mean, the interwebs be coming after Kev. Like, you can't do this. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it to our resident, no sugar, no butter. Bree, explain to us what this is all about.
Whoa, Bree.
Listen. Okay.
he did that. You too, Bree? That's what he did.
I shall not ever put sugar in my grits. It's not going to happen.
Disappointed.
I was well, see, here's the thing. I was born and raised in Ohio.
Okay. It's a Midwest thing. Is that
two
what it is?
very lovely parents that I have that taught me a very valuable lesson. Of course, they didn't teach me anything about grits because my mom put sugar in her grits, but I refused.
How do you here's your mom's footsteps on this?
No, but see, here's my thing. You know, there's no scriptural support.
Yes, there is.
That would ever prove that Jesus put sugar in his grits. So therefore, I'm not putting sugar in my grits.
Yes, he did. It's proof.
No, he didn't. No. You're not gonna see him ever sitting down putting sugar in his grits. So I have to be Christ-like, and in an effort to be Christ-like, I shall not put sugar in my grits. Jesus didn't put sugar in his grits. Yes, and that's why salt goes in my grits. Like that's scriptural.
Like by itself, just salt.
No, salt, butter, and cheese.
Oh,
cheese
so butter
grits.
is acceptable.
Butter is acceptable, cheese is acceptable, but not just salt by itself. Like that's.
Now, see, I used to put cheese in my sugar grits, and that's.
See, I ain't never did that. I can't do sugar.
What Seagull said is facts for me. You know what I mean? Whether it's oatmeal, whether it's grits,
cream of wheat,
cereal,
cream of wheat. I mean, you know, butter. Sugar, I ain't never done the salt thing, not purposely.
But sugar is good in oatmeal though. Like, yeah, it's supposed to be in oatmeal. I would never put salt in oatmeal, but I just think grits are supposed to be savory though.
But what about
grits are savory?
Cream of wheat? What about cream of wheat?
It's the same.
Cream of wheat.
Yes, still.
Okay.
Butter and sugar.
Cream of wheat.
Butter and sugar.
Definitely
I can't do sugar.
And cream of wheat. So I'll say this. I will do salt in my grits when and only when it got shrimp in it. That's the only time.
Oh,
that's it.
Shrimp and grits.
Outside of that.
Trish is preaching.
Outside of that, I'm not doing that.
No butter, no sugar in my grits when it's shrimp and grits.
That's it.
When it's shrimp and grits, I might dash a little bit of salt on that thing.
For sure.
Yes, that is true. If it's shrimp and grits. But shrimp and grits is a whole nother delicacy. This isn't just eating grits.
Yeah.
It makes it a different meal.
Indeed.
But now at least there you go. It's not breakfast.
You can eat it as breakfast, but it's typically not eaten in the Black family as breakfast.
It's definitely true. It's not. It's definitely a lunch or later meal, in my opinion.
A brunch.
But now at least I started to understand the thought process behind salt and grits, because I really couldn't understand it at all. But thank you, Trish. Yes, if it's shrimp and grits, pass the salt.
It's great.
It's always salt.
But if it's grits by itself, and if it's breakfast, butter and sugar all day.
Butter and sugar all day.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think grits is extremely underrated now that I think
that's not scriptural. We can't do that.
We could you talk about it ain't scriptural.
Grits is extremely underrated. Anyway, I think we might have solved some things here, but probably not. But it is definitely Tastemakers 3-1 on the butter sugar in your grits. Brina, I don't know. I don't know what happened.
I'm standing with Jesus on this one. I'm standing with Jesus. That's okay.
You can't argue with that.
I don't believe Jesus is in agreement here. He definitely said you could win more with honey, which is a sweetener, than with vinegar, which kind of.
What you gonna say with that?
But we are the salt
of the earth.
Jesus did talk about seasoning, did he not?
He did. And
he talked a lot about seasoning.
Quite a bit. That's true.
So had he made a bowl of grits, they probably would have had salt in them.
I can't disagree with her quote.
What?
That could be true.
Bria's turned you?
No, she hasn't flipped me, but I'm just saying she's making a good point. And you know I love the Bible.
Just saying.
You know what I'm saying?
There's so many references pertaining to salt in season.
It is. Jesus' favorite condiment had to be salt.
It had to be. He talked about it so much.
He did.
He probably could cook too.
He probably could throw down.
Salt. May your speech be seasoned with salt.
Ooh.
And grits.
What is happening?
I'm gonna leave it alone.
I am done.
I'm gonna leave it alone.
What level of what kind of? Oh man, y'all and y'all's salt doctrines.
That was great, though.
But anyway, that's enough. Again, sugar and grits is the way to go. Do the right thing, like Spike Lee. Next topic for the night.
Well, listen, before we go to this next topic, I just gotta preface the audience. If y'all hear Quote talking in this deep voice, or like thinking he's like semi-smooth out here, if he's sounding like Jared Levert, he's been drinking these energy drinks, y'all, and I don't know what has gotten into him whenever he drinks these energy drinks. Bang. All right, so hide your aunties, hide your grandmas, because I don't know what's happening with Quote right now. I just want to put that preface out there. You know what I'm saying? You ain't even got your ring on, so you can't even point to it. Look, you out here looking crazy. Listen, what's your wife's name? What's your wife's name?
Priscilla.
Priscilla, come get him. Come get him, Priscilla.
Where is my wife? She is. My son is at a basketball game, and that is where my wife is.
10:30 at night. Where a basketball game for?
Anyway, they just be doing too much. AAU and Boo Williams and high school ball, they just be doing way too much. Yeah. Anyway, listen. I don't know what he's talking about with the Gerald Levert thing. Though, like I said, growing up, they did call me Gerald Levert. But I don't see what's different from what I normally. I'm just talking like I normally talk.
Y'all see it? Don't worry.
Okay.
Let's go on to this next topic here. So,
and one more thing. Nah, it's playing.
Lord.
I'm done. Go ahead, Cole. I'm done.
So, R.Kelly verdict popped up. Indeed, Mr. Kelly Mr. I Believe I Can Fly himself, was convicted and is on his way to jail, as I understand it. Have they already put his sentence out there?
I don't think so.
Not yet. Not yet. This brings up a lot of different conversations and about Kelly and the moves he made and the way that our community kind of ignored it for so long. And then the ultimate question that everybody kind of leans down to is, do we still rock with Kelly's music? Let's start with Trish right below me here. Trish, what you think about Mr. Kelly and his shenanigans, and will there be any stepping in the name of love at any of your events?
Absolutely not. That's a hard no.
That's a hard no.
Absolutely not.
You hypocritical, yo.
I quit listening to his music when, you know, everything came out officially. And I mean, unfortunately, I saw the video way back years and years ago, and I was convinced then, and I'm convinced now.
You talking about the Pee on You video?
Yes.
Chappelle just jumps in my head every time.
I know. Yeah, but no, that was definitely him. I can recognize a face anywhere. Like, that was you. But yeah, no, I'm completely done with him. And I try not to, but I do. I question the people who still listen to his music. I'm side-eyeing you.
Oh, perfect.
If you're still listening to his music, why? Because if I could see if his music wasn't directly like about like what he got locked up for, like you talking about like so many things that you're talking about in your music that are, you know, relating to why you got locked up, or I just think about the things that
seems like you're ready,
and it's like even the stuff that he wrote for Aaliyah, like age ain't nothing but a number. Ninja, we know
thing ain't nothing but a thing.
You talking about Aaliyah? Come on,
my love for you.
It's like, no. And now I can still rock with Aaliyah's that album, but I really have a hard time listening to that song. Not even gonna lie, I have a hard time listening to it. But nah, he's out of here.
Okay.
Good riddance.
Trisha has canceled R. Kelly. Bree, what you say?
I agree with Trish. Because that documentary was enough for me to, you know, delete all of his music off of my phone, including songs he wrote for other artists. Like I deleted everything.
Dang.
He wrote for other artists.
Dang.
Yeah, I went through, you know, and it was hard to do that. I think, you know, I just didn't want to like support him with any spins whatsoever. That was the only thing behind that. But it was just, yeah. As far as listening to his music, nah. I mean, given what he's been convicted of and what he's been accused of, and, you know, the inspiration behind those songs, like they just hit different now.
Thanks.
And I just can't do it. Not in good faith. Can't. Not even Thank God It's Friday.
I don't even know what that is, but
Oh,
wait, can I add this? I want to add
gonna be a
this
stream.
real quick. I just wanted to add this. I have to say, like, his albums were amazing. Like, I'm talking about as a married woman, like there's like R. I don't know if y'all heard the album R. It's such a great album. Ratchet, but it's great. I mean, he has so many good albums, right? Good songs, great songs, amazing songs. It's like I don't even care. Like, I'm good. I'm so good.
He was a genius.
So I believe me and light skin Corey are gonna kind of fall the same way on this one. But Corey, do you want it first, or you want me to get it first?
I'll go ahead and knock it out real quick.
Okay.
I'm trying to see if iTunes is still carrying his music, which they are. So I wrestled my box with this topic as a whole a lot, because I never was an R. Kelly. Like, I knew who R. Kelly was. I've heard his music. I never bought any albums. I never like listened to them, was a fan, wouldn't go, that kind of thing. So it's easier for me to disconnect from R. Kelly's music than anybody. Oh, he did this? Oh yeah, forget that dude. We out of here. Yeah, mute R. Kelly. I have no problem with that. No problem at all. So I agree with what Trish is saying. I agree with what Bree is saying. You know what I'm saying? I definitely can feel you. But I parallel it to the people that I have had stronger connections to. And then I'm like, oh, they get caught up. Do I delete all their music? Do I delete all their sermons? Do I delete all their things that they've taught? Like, is their information no good no more just because they were no good people? Right? So the first one that comes to my head is Ravi Zacharias. Like, that dude was a monster. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I mean, he eventually died, but like, he had some great teaching. That dude was like the Jay-Z of like apologetics. Sure. You know what I'm saying? So is all his stuff not good anymore? Is his, like, does it not do the same things? Does it not, defend the faith the same way? Now, I know that, people who really, like, I want to ask Truth, like, how do you feel about the Ravi stuff? Like, does it help? Like, do you not play your album anymore? Do you take the album off iTunes, the one that you and Ravi had together? You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm taking it from that perspective of, man, would I do the same thing with other pastors and with other teachers that I would do, that I did do? But I really did. It was like, I didn't listen to R. Kelly anyway. But would I do the same thing with them? And I don't think I would. Like, if I see a Ravi Zacharias video, like, I'm gonna listen to it. I know it's good information still. Like, he's doing what he was good at, which is, telling people about defending the gospel in the Bible. So that, and then on the other hand, if we're gonna cancel R. Kelly for the sexual stuff, we gotta cancel a lot of people for the other stuff as well too. Like, Chris Brown was a wife beater. Not a wife beater, but a girlfriend beater.
Chris Brown was 18 years old. Just let's put that out there. But
what's that mean?
Still, he did what he did.
There's a difference. He has been apologetic about that. He has made his peace, right? That's a whole different story. We talking about.
Oh, Chris so Brown, if R. Kelly would apologize, you guys would have been good?
First of all, if he even first admits, because he ain't admitted to nothing, okay, right. Not one thing. You know what I'm saying? Then there's no conversation. There's no like, oh, well, maybe no, and he's not. No. No, he doesn't get that he doesn't get to take up that type of space in my world because he can't even admit to what he's done. Now, I respect Chris Brown for saying what he said. I don't know that man. He might still have issues and vices like everybody else, but yeah, I've heard him say, I messed up. I've done a lot of messed up stuff, so. Yeah, that's different to me.
So we're okay as long as they apologize, or as long as they admit what they did was wrong, as long as they are saying they own it.
Yeah, absolutely, that's all for me.
So the grudge is not. I mean, of course, the grudge is the actual thing that he did was heinous and terrible.
For sure.
But we're saying that you're going to be more not okay with it, but you'll be able to stomach it more if he admitted to it and apologized and moved on.
Sure.
Okay, got you. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Go ahead, quote.
Yeah. So, Mr. Kelly, first and foremost, let's make sure we put this out there. I mean, we all believe without a shadow of a doubt that Robert Kelly was dead wrong. And, as things continue to come out, I didn't get a chance to check the documentary out necessarily. But
watch it.
But I know I know we're talking about some messed up things that went on. I don't normally seek after stuff like that. I don't ever want it necessarily. But anyway, and yes, we ignored it for a long time. We all know what happened with Aaliyah. We all know whatever the case may be. I got a couple questions, and then I've got a couple of things, or whatever the case may be. Of course, I've always been a person, always have been the kind of person who could separate the art from the artist without a shadow of a doubt. I could always do that. Gifts come without repentance, and I have always been able to separate the art from the artist. That's just me. That's always been the case. From what I've heard, and I haven't watched the doc, but from just hearing stuff, whatever the case may be, and again, we're all gonna say Kelly was dead wrong. Like that goes without saying, right? Cancel culture, though, or cancel the music culture, or whatever the case may be, it's hard for me for a lot of reasons. You know what I mean? Y'all remember what they did? I mean, and y'all just tell me what's what. Y'all remember when they thought that King David was dead and they wanted to kind of see if King David was really dead? Y'all remember what they did?
I remember.
Remind me.
They took a young girl and put her in his bed. Mm-hmm. And because he didn't try to get all up on her, it was like, David's dead, y'all. He's dead.
Word? What was this? In Kings or something?
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
It's in
Probably.
There. It's in there. But Bree, you can vouch for me?
I can verify. That's in there.
What just happened? What I missed?
No, I'm laughing at the story. I never heard that part of the story.
I don't remember.
This is how they knew that King David was dead. Now, this
what was this? I gotta read
this. This is the same David that saw Bathsheba, got knocked her up, then tried to devise a plan where her husband would, bring her husband home so he could have sex with her so they don't know that the baby's mine. And then her husband, who had more integrity, was like, nah, my people is fighting right now. I got to fight with my people. So then, of course, everybody knows what David did then, right? David
First
was like,
King, chapter 1.
Thank you. And they was like, put him on the front lines. Kill him.
Right.
Kill him. You feel what I'm saying? And this is not to excuse King David, because King David was dead wrong too.
For sure.
For sure.
But, all the way wrong.
Yeah,
all the way wrong.
Wild, sir.
But we don't cancel David by any means.
And
we don't cancel the Psalms by any means.
But David apologized. David apologized.
There was repentance.
But the Psalms weren't written, like those weren't. R.Kelly's music is sexually explicit. And the inspiration behind those songs, like what we thought at one time, like after watching that documentary, is like you listen to his music, it's like you're gonna second guess it every single time. Like, is he talking about a child? Like, I mean, that's the difference between him and Ravi Zacharias. Their product is different because Ravi's discretion doesn't discredit the gospel because what he wrote was true.
Right.
So, go ahead.
I'm just saying what he wrote was true. Like him proving, making an argument for the existence of Christ, apologetics, all that stuff. Ravi Zacharias was wrong, but it doesn't take away from the gospel. R. Kelly's music, this man
was writing songs while doing acts on young girls, not even ladies, girls. So for me, it's a big no.
That's
So are we canceling I Believe I Can Fly? Are we canceling the He Saved Me album, the gospel album they put out?
Absolutely.
Are we canceling the joint he did with Kirk Franklin, Mary J, Crystal Lewis, and Bono?
I don't know.
All that.
I took everything. I took all that stuff.
Quote, it's all out of here.
Phone.
Sorry, Quote. Nah. It's over.
I just don't understand. I don't.
That's why I'm saying you need to watch the documentary, because if you don't
I'm gonna be honest with you, it wouldn't change it for me. Just because I know who I am. I know that's always been.
I've always been. Quote. All right, quote. You have kids.
I do.
If you knew let's say somebody abused your kids, and you knew the person that abused your kids, and they were an artist, would you still listen to their music? Would their music still be allowed in your house? Okay,
of course. The chances that somebody that makes really good music does something to okay. I think that's a weird hypothetical, right? Because it's never going to really kind of come. It's not a real ordeal necessarily, right?
But it doesn't even have to be. It doesn't even have to be one of your children that, or it doesn't have to be that person directly. What if one of your children or even your wife has ever been sexually assaulted, and you're like, well, I'm about to play R.Kelly up in here, and she like, no, you're not. Are you gonna be like, oh yes, I am? How you gonna respond?
Well, that's a lot of different things. Like I said, I'm not sitting here going to do something. I'm never going to do something that's going to trip somebody else up. That's not my move. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
So I'm not going to, just because I might enjoy it in my own personal, if it offends somebody else, I'm not going to, no, press play. I don't care what they say. Press play. That's a whole other situation, right? No, that's a whole other situation. I mean, that's.
Oh no! So the more I'm thinking about it, though,
that's the red meat situation.
So I got friends. I have female friends who dudes have done them wrong. Who I know the dudes, and because I ride with my female friends so hard, I'm like, oh nah, he's out of here. We not cool no more. We not banging no more. Like we not riding no more. If he did that to you, nah, yo, there ain't no separating. He's a great guy from. He just had this one.
No. I said art from artists. I didn't say no. I got scumbag friends that used to be friends that have done situations to women, and we no longer.
So you're saying
cool.
So
I'm talking art from artists. I ain't trying to hang with Kelly. I'm trying to be around.
But what if his art was inspired by?
Yeah,
the sexual
stuff that he was accused of.
See, in my opinion, all art is inspired by something, and majority of gospel music for that matter. A lot of times things are inspired by some of the darkest depths of people's souls in crazy times. You know what I mean? We had some of the stuff that we rock with Fred Hammond. He was literally going through as he was going through a divorce with his wife.
That's different. Crazy times versus I am literally committing crimes, and my music is literally it's literally based off of the crimes that I'm committing. I don't care. I'm over here. I got a sex trafficking situation happening. I got all types of little girls in my situation. I got I don't know what you call it, but girls locked up in my room. Like, I'm making music about this stuff. Like, I'm struggling to eat. Like,
I feel you.
To understand, like, why even allow that in your ears? Like, this ninja is writing about like crimes he committed, like sexual assaults on girls, little children, teenagers.
What was the podcast that Montel Jordan was a guest on that she was
KB
okay
HGA joint.
So Montel was talking about in that interview, like when he was going through a period of time when he was living in sin, and he was like, and I told y'all about it because I wrote about it. Y'all heard it in my songs,
right?
So it's like, yeah, that stuff can be documented. We can go back and go through his catalog, and he even sang some of those records. Like, yeah, this is what I was going through at that time. So it's possible that R.Kelly was documenting some of his his acts during some of those records we listened to back in the day. It could be the same situation, and that's why it's such a hard pass for me to go back and still listen to that stuff, because it's like, what was he thinking about when he wrote this?
Yeah,
my mind just really. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say. I ain't listened to R. Kelly in a minute, right? Like, so I'm not sitting around listening to R. Kelly, right? But I'm also if something was to come on, or if I was to hear something, I'm not like, hey, no, turn that off now. That would never really cross my mind. I don't believe it would. But I've always been that way. I've always been able to separate art from artists, and that's just that's always been me. For several reasons, and I've got different things that have happened in my life that's the reason why. For instance, for instance, and this, is once again speaking of R.Kelly, right? So R.Kelly releases the "He Saved Me" project, right? I'm in radio. I'm on FM radio at the time, right? And I say to myself, at that time, because that was my viewpoint, I was like, yo, I'll never play R. Kelly on my show. I'll never play R. Kelly, He Saved Me, and all that stuff on my show. It's R. Kelly. Like, I'm not playing this stuff. Matter of fact, if I ever play this joint, it would be because somebody just walked up to me and gave me the CD. Like, that's the only way I would really ever play that joint, for real. And it was a different time. Like, we didn't have the access that we do on the phone. So somebody giving you a CD out of the blue was weird, right? It was different. You know what I'm saying? The next day I walk into my office and the album is on my desk. And my coworker is like, yo, look, I figured this is something you would like. And I wanted to make sure you had this. And I was like, oh, okay. And in that time, and of course, we're talking about the He Saved Me stuff, acid, I believe the Holy Spirit started talking to me about, not when people are making music glorifying God, not just, letting them do what they were put on earth and made to do, right? Whatever the case may be. So that's one of many, many, many different kind of stories that I've got on that. And it just caused me to always be able to separate from the artist. As we all know, from being kind of just behind the scenes and seeing stuff, there are many, many Christian artists, many, 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 many Christian artists that are making music and not living the lifestyle in which they are preaching in this music, and their lives are doing something else. But they were put on this earth to make music and to worship the Lord with their gifts and different things of that nature. And so therefore, again, I separate the art from the artist. And I know we're talking more so gospel type stuff on that, or whatever the case may be. But that's just kind of how I have always been. I've always been able to do that from that. So again, if Kelly's music just comes on, I don't think I would just be like, yo, turn that off. I think I'd be like, step in the name of love. Like, for real. So that's my take.
I feel you. I can separate the art from the artist depending on what type of artist we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, most of the artists that I bang with, if they like done some kind of criminal activity and still doing it, don't care, ain't, like that's something different. For me, it's if you're out here in sin and you're talking about truthful like things, right? You're pointing us to Christ, you're pointing us to the gospel. Like, I just think that's just different from the music that R. Kelly makes, right? Because R. Kelly is not making music about the gospel. Maybe that one gospel album or whatever, his couple of songs that were positive, quote unquote.
Right.
Cool, sure. I mean, they was playing I think in my kids' school, I Believe I Can Fly, and they like learned it, but this was like a couple years ago, but they still know that song, and I don't play it, but they still know it and they sing it sometimes, and I don't stop them because I'm not gonna go into why I don't want them singing it as of yet, because they don't really understand all of that. But trust and believe they will. They will know why mommy does not play I Believe I Can Fly, But, like that type of situation, it's like, okay, but I'm not going to play it. I'm not going to listen to it because nah.
I think it's difficult for me to separate the art from the artist, because the artist is writing about, he's making art from who he is. So the artist is the art. Like it's one and the same. It's not something that you can separate. It's not something that you can.
When we do that, come on. Right now, like, for instance, and I'm just this is just how my brain thinks. Like, right now, everybody's watching what is it, Squid Game on Netflix, whatever the case may be, and many other things that we have entertained with our eyes and ears. throughout the year. I mean, I don't know, maybe y'all have better gates than others, but I know I've watched a whole lot of debauchery. You know what I'm saying? On network TV or Netflix or Hulu or whatever the case may be. And you, from an art standpoint, have no clue where these writers and these directors, and where are they getting these stories from that they are putting out. And we consume them, you know, whatever the case may be. And like I said, that's just my thought. Like I said, I don't think I've ever given R. Kelly a stream, but I'm just saying if it does come on, I'm not going to be the first one to be like, hey, y'all hit pause.
I will.
I mean, if anything, it's like, it's sad because it's like, you know, wow. Yeah. Like, I can't listen to this because, like, that's really what I feel. Like, if I hear a song, because it's like, that's something that's talent that's going to waste. If he chooses not to repent, like, you know, if he repents, great. But, you know, it's like, I keep going back to what Jesus said, like, a tree is known by its fruit. And a good person can't produce, you know, evil fruit. An evil person can't produce good fruit. Like, they're gonna show what they are. Like, that's Luke 6. Like, they're gonna have good fruit.
I believe
if that's what's in their heart.
I believe they are going to show what they are. Yes, right. But that doesn't mean that they can never produce anything good, right? Like,
not saying never, because a person can change. But what I'm saying is, like, at that particular point in time, like, it's like he had instances where he made inspirational songs and he made a gospel album, but he did not show, like, the world, like, okay, this is my lifestyle. Like, you know, he had points where he said, you know, he rededicated his life to God. But again, it's like, you look at the fruit, you know, and so that's just the kind of touchy, you know, it's a touchy situation because the evidence is there, you know, his lyrics are there. And that's just kind of like where it, you know, where it sits.
Yeah, I just want to make sure
it would be different.
Yeah, no, go ahead. You were saying, Bree?
No, I'm just saying it would be different if his music was different, and then it came out that his lifestyle was different. Like, if he was a gospel artist and he hid this, you know, then that's something completely different. But his music was kind of like a diary of what was going on behind the scenes. And I think that's where it sits for a lot of people. It just makes you uncomfortable listening to it.
Definitely.
That's what it is. That's what it is. So that's our take on the R. Kelly situation. Man, I want to go into it on some other levels too, but
go ahead.
Well,
I'm sorry.
No. I'm trying to. Well, hey, it's the Tastemakers Pod. We're gonna learn together. Y'all educate me on some things. I didn't watch the doc. Probably never will watch the doc just because that kind of. Like, I like fake darkness. I don't like real darkness, right? But as I understood the situation, or situations, right? Because it's multiple people, right? Multiple women, multiple young ladies. There was a lot of consent from what I understood as well, right? No? Or was there an initial consent and then things changed, or what?
Did you say consent? Is that what you said?
Consent, yes.
From whom?
Was there, as I understood it from things heard, news, whatever, again, didn't watch the doc or whatever, there was a lot of consent or either initial consent at one point or another with these situations as well, right?
Sure. If we're saying,
I mean, if you're like a 14-year-old girl, 13-year-old girl, and your hero is asking you to do something, or you're somebody that's way older than you, who's way mature, like, I couldn't technically say, listen, I'm in front of kids every day. You know how much stuff they probably consent that because Corey asked me to do it. So yeah, I did it.
Exactly.
Like, come on, bro. We can't say consent as if they're mature
doesn't
adults.
Matter. Yeah, consent doesn't matter when you're talking to a 13-year-old or a 12-year-old, right?
Not at all.
They have no. They're not thinking in a way that is mature. They're thinking, "Oh my gosh, this is R.Kelly, and he wants me." Because it didn't start off with just, "Oh, let me do this sexual stuff." It was, "Okay, let me kind of groom you to like
put
you on musically," because that's how he got to them. It's like, okay, well, if you could sing, I'm gonna make you a star, basically. And from there is where it progressed. You know what I'm saying? And the trust comes in because this man is telling me he's going to make me a star. Like, of course I'm gonna be around him. Of course I'm gonna, do whatever he's asking me to do if this means I'm gonna be a star. You know what I'm saying? And so him being manipulative, him being like him experiencing what he's experienced himself, being manipulated and abused as well, sexually abused, all of that, like he understands there's a system. He understands the system. So that all of that is what played into, even think about Aaliyah. Like her uncle introduced him. So it's like, okay, this is somebody who's trustworthy. So yeah, I'm gonna be up under him. Oh wait, he's my mentor. And I don't know if y'all ever saw the video where they were at Video Soul. It was him and her.
Yeah.
And she was only 15. This man was 24, 23 or 24. And she was like, "Oh, this is my best friend." And like the energy she was giving off to him.
They were dating.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely dating.
15.
You could see it. Yeah. And she did not look 15, but she was 15. It's a different world though too. I want to make sure, and I'm going to be devil advocate on this one on a couple levels as well. And again, we know without a shadow of a doubt, dead wrong, right? It's a talk. What we do is a little entertainment, a little talk, whatever the case may be. So I'm doing devil advocates for listeners, everybody's out there, so we can talk about more stuff concerning it. All right. And then we even talk about, of course, the youthfulness, right? These are teenagers for the most part that we're talking about. And culturally, it's only been the last maybe 150 years where it was abnormal for people to already have maybe arranged marriages, or to already to see people getting pregnant, having kids at a certain age, whatever case may be. This has just been taboo for the last probably 150 years, right? So
depending on the culture, sure.
Right. So just all these things that that people think and that come to mind with it all, what the case may be. Again, as we acknowledge, dead wrong, obviously using his power to do whatever. But I just want to make sure we're seeing everything clearly. And I do, again, reference the King David point again. I mean, because, again, culturally at that time, it was different as well, right? Indeed. Have I made y'all feel as uncomfortable?
No,
or
I'm laughing at Trish, because Trish is like, "Go ahead, say something so I can carry you up real quick." Bro, this ain't gonna look good, bro, for you. This ain't gonna look good. I'm just gonna let you know now. On the playback, this ain't gonna look good for you.
You have to understand.
I'm just asking the questions.
You're talking to a woman.
Y'all take it easy on quoting the comments. Take it easy.
Right.
I'm just asking the questions.
You have to understand who you're talking to first, right? So I have been molested and raped and assaulted on many occasions, and many pastors hitting on me and saying inappropriate things to me, or pastors or ministers, whatever you want to call them, men of God, whatever, right? So I've experienced it a lot. It's happened in my family. So I'm a huge advocate for women who have experienced sexual assault, and I do feel like it is I don't know where the Lord is going to take all of that, like my experiences too. I know me and my husband do a thing called Our Sexual Healing. We talk about, it's called Our Sexual Healing because of my trauma, right? So there's a lot that people don't understand if you have not yourself experienced it or have not been around people who have experienced that type of trauma. So there's a level of, you know, this is toxic for me to take in if I listen to this man. Like this is not helpful for me in my mental state if I'm listening to a man who, you know, has sexually assaulted many children and teenagers, whatever, however you want to phrase it. If you are not 18, you are still considered a child or, you know, whatever. So it's just, so when we talk about this topic, like, yeah, I get a little on edge. That's why I said, if you listen to R.Kelly, I'm gonna side eye you, because why? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is the reason? You know, what kind of value is he adding to your life? It knowing what this man has done, right? And I'm not knocking you, quote, specifically. I'm saying, you know, for anybody who's still like, yeah, because it's people that still stand for him.
Yeah.
And like, oh, he's innocent, or it don't matter. He's a man. Like, what that's supposed to mean?
Right.
Like, what does that mean? You know, or, oh, y'all just hating. It's like, no one's hating. There's too much evidence. It's way too much evidence.
Right. Well, I mean, once you keep people beyond their will in a spot, I mean,
it's a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot. You're doing too much.
Yeah.
You're doing too much. So yeah, I get very, like, you know, just my whole demeanor changes because the topic is real, and for people who have experienced that type of trauma, you know, talking about this, watching the documentary can be triggering, right? For people, and you know, because I was triggered afterwards, but I wanted to watch it because I wanted to know the stories. I wanted to hear the stories because of my own trauma. I do have to be careful, right? I do have to be careful, but I was able to stomach it, and it moved me to just talk openly about it, because there's so many women who don't talk about it. There's women who it's happened to them when they were little, and they don't even have a conversation about anything that's happened to them, to their spouses. Some women get divorced because of it, because they have not talked about it, or they haven't dealt with it. They haven't allowed themselves to heal from it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, there's so many different elements that come with this topic. So yeah.
And we're looking at a great deal of just lack of protection for our young girls, our ladies, for Black women, for women in general, right? As we've actually seen even pop up in the news over the course of the last week or two, as well. Trish, if you actually could even speak to the young ladies, was it in Florida, or where was the young lady at?
Yeah, in South Florida. I can't remember the name of the city, but so 19-year-old girl, Miya Marcano, she was a beautiful girl, you know, loved by many. She was working at her apartment complex. Apparently, she worked there as well. And there was a maintenance man who, and apparently he had a criminal background. I just learned that today. But he was, you know, making many advances to her, and she kept saying no. And somehow, well, not somehow, he had the master key to her apartment as the maintenance man.
Gosh.
You have the master key to everyone's apartment. So he came in there, and I don't, no one knows the detail. I don't think they put out the details of like exactly what happened to her, but her body was found at an apartment complex where he had family at. So, but before any of this even happened, before they found out about her body, or found her body, I'm sorry, he had killed himself. He killed himself because I think that he knew that somebody was watching. So her family was watching him after she came up missing, because I guess she had told people that he was like kind of pressing her. And so somebody was filming him, and he's coming out the car with her towels or something, like some of her items. And you could see he just was like cleaning the car real good. It was just looking real weird. And they gave that, whoever filmed it, gave that to the police, and the police, I guess, were about to go, question him, and he offed himself, which it's a punk move, but that tells us everything we need to know. Obviously, you guilty. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So,
Yeah, definitely. And we hear it, and I think the feeling, and I actually was talking to the guys before. The feeling is helplessness. We hear of the many missing women, and especially Black women, especially in the South, due to trafficking and different things of that nature. And a lot of times there's just a helplessness, like, what can we really do to prevent these things from happening? And for so long, we've always said to our women, whether they were going off to college or just starting to date or whatever the case may be, make sure you don't wear this. Make sure you're protecting your drinks at all times. Make sure you don't say or do this. But fellas, of course, we know, and sometimes we know who our friends are, or associates are, that's got those reps or do those things, and we've definitely got to make sure that we are confronting and letting them know that this is not okay, will not be tolerated, different things of that nature, to try to protect women in general in our society, especially Black women, that double minority being there. But yeah, just any other thoughts? I was about to go to Corey, and he just bounced real quick.
No, I'm here.
Okay. But yeah. Any other just thoughts as we kind of start to wrap that portion up a little bit?
Man, it's heartbreaking. It breaks my heart when you hear stories like this. And again, I think same sentiments that you said, where you kind of feel helpless because it's like, what can we do? You know what I'm saying? I shout out to my man Legend out there in 757, where he had a whole album, and all the money from the album was dedicated against sex trafficking and things of this nature. So that's one of the artists I've seen actually do something about that. But it just seems like sometimes we get in a space where you hear it so much that you get numb to it, but it's like we can't get numb to it, because then you feel like you don't want to do anything about it, because it's like, oh, this happens every day. So are we going to do something about it every single day, right? So we're in a crazy world, man. It's really bad out here. But it's just like when it seems like there's no hope, especially with these kind of situations. I know that's when I run to Jesus. I find my peace in Jesus and find my peace in those things as well too. But just being aware and doing the same things that quote was saying. That quote was saying, and protecting our women and protecting our female friends and things like that. So, man, it's tough.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, definitely.
I just wanted to add to this real quick. Yeah. Like one of the things that we don't talk about is fathers teaching their sons to keep their hands to themselves. I think that because, like, for women, we constantly hear what we need to do. We need to do this. We need to do that. We need to make sure you ain't wearing this, and make sure you all day long. All day. We would hear it from the pulpit. We hear it from everywhere. We hear it from schools, universities. They all talking about what we need to stop doing. But what do they need to start doing or stop doing? Like, what do the men need to stop doing? Like, who's talking to them? You know what I'm saying? Like, who's actually pouring into them, teaching them how to avoid certain situations, or teaching them how to have self-control, teaching them how to, just keep their hands to themselves. You know what I mean? And I think it starts with, from the home, right?
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean? If you're teaching your child that no means no, not spoiling them and letting them get away with everything just because you don't want to discipline them, because that is a root issue, right? Like that can, if I grow up in a household where no didn't really mean no, then when I get older and I'm in a relationship, if a girl's telling me no, no don't really mean no. So you know what I'm saying? So it's just little things like that we can do. Our nephews, our our friends' kids, whoever, we need to be training them up. in that situation, in those type of situations.
Yeah, no, it's a shame, and man, a lot of press. I mean, it's almost a given. Uh, the rape cultures that pollute even like all the colleges across America. Like
Absolutely.
it's crazy,
Yeah.
right? And so that's definitely, I know me and my son, I've already had those kind of conversations with him. I mean, it's real simple. Like fathers, you don't even have to have a long drawn out thing. It's real simple.
Facts.
Like, hey,
Facts.
look, man, I know you going off the boom, boom, boom. I'm gonna let you know straight up right now. We don't rock like that. Let me find out that you have done some boom, boom, boom. Just something like that, and it's pretty much almost a done and deal, right? It's a done deal right there. And
Yeah.
the level of entitlement that you
That part.
must have to feel that you can force yourself upon somebody, or that somebody's lack of consent or their no is a game for you to continue to press upon is quite disturbing. That is definitely quite disturbing, for
Facts.
sure. Bree, you wanted to say anything right off?
I guess what I was thinking about was, I think it's First Timothy 5, where it addresses how we're supposed to treat each other, and it talks about how younger women, like men, should treat younger women like their sister. Observing them, with pure thoughts, like
Mm-hmm.
that should be the basis. Like even when you think about training, young men to honor and respect women as they're growing up, like this is your sister, like this is
Mm-hmm.
how you should treat. you know I just think, like, I agree with Trish. Like, it's sad that the responsibility is often placed on us. But, hopefully that changes. Hopefully
Yeah.
it changes. So that's all I have on that one.
Indeed, indeed. So definitely a heavy topic there. Like I said, not sure if we've got any answers to solutions. It's that helpless feeling that I know we've talked about there. And just like I said, as a black man, um, as a black man, of course I'm a minority, right? But then I think of and I think of some of the privileges I do have, right? Over my sisters, right? Certain privileges that I don't have to think about walking down necessarily maybe a dark alley, or I don't have to necessarily, or I don't think to watch my drink. You know what I mean? I don't
Mm-hmm.
think, am I wearing something that could lead to harm? I don't think stuff like that necessarily. And these are thoughts that our sisters have to think about constantly, unfortunately. So interesting, interesting. Also, just want to remind everybody, I am the host of the show, and I know these guys a little bit. So we do things to kind of pull certain things out and go to different things along with these topics as well. So that's what it is. That's definitely a tough one right there. With what's happening with not only Maya, but there was also another white girl in the news within the last week as well that we've heard body. It's just it's nasty. It's definitely nasty. Um, Probably should have saved this topic for the last topic
Hmm.
because of the heaviness of it. But we're going to try to transition into our next topic, which is the release of Andy Mineo's Neverland II.
Man, I wanted
Um,
to hate it. I wanted to hate it.
Why?
Definitely one of the most anticipated
Why?
albums
What?
in the CHH space. Andy's been doing his thing for some years, and the project came out late last week. And let's talk about it a little bit. Bree, what you thought about Neverland 2?
I loved it. And I was happy with it for this reason. Like, it sounded like a complete project.
Mm.
Like,
Mm,
um the big thing for me was, the interludes with his mother, like kind of
Mm.
guiding you through the project, like as you go along, like that, pulled at my heartstrings.
yeah.
And I'm
Mm.
sure for anybody that listened to it, um it was really good. I did see on Twitter some people were comparing it to Formerly Known, which I kind of didn't get that. It kind of sounded more like Uncomfortable for me. That project, it was kind of similar to that one, but
I agree.
I loved it. It was a really, it had a really chill vibe to it. And kind of the good thing with Andy is, each project he puts out, you can kind of see how he matures with each record. He doesn't sound the same way as he did 10 years ago. So it's like we don't get Sea Light vibes with this record. You really do get Andy Mineo. So I loved it.
Indeed. Unlike the Certified Lover Boy, we actually see growth in this artist's journey. So, C. Goss, what you think about Neverland II?
I wanted to hate it. I did not want to like it. Because, yo.
Because it's CHH, is that why?
Maybe. And I like Andy Mineo in concert, right? But I've never gotten the huge hype about him outside of a concert where people liked him as much as they did.
What?
Because I don't know, I just never got it. He sounded like a regular CHH guy to me. He didn't sound like anything that was like super dope. You know what I'm saying? Like I could name like 5 or 6 artists who I felt like were better than him. You know what I'm saying? As far as like sounding outside of CHH or sounding current and relevant. Like I think a lot of the underground artists are better than a lot of the bigger name artists. But that's usually how it is anyway, regardless.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I did like the album though. I did like it. I liked the joint with Words Played. That joint was fire. I was interested on the record with Chandler Moore. It was funny because like when I first, so when I download the album, I first look at the features and see who's on it, and then I just let the album rock. So as I'm letting it play, I'm waiting for the Chandler Moore record to come on, and then it's like I'm on track like 14. I'm like, yo, where's this Chandler record at? So then I go back and I'm like, oh, this is the Chandler record, right? But it's Chandler like you've never heard him before. So I like that.
It was Chandler like you never heard him before. That was kind of dope.
And you'll probably never hear him sing like that again. so I thought that record was fire. He gave us some insight in the earlier albums about his daddy issues. So that kind of carried over. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully he figures that out one day and, him and his dad reconcile. Interested to see Joseph Solomon on there. I thought that was an interesting. Well, I'm not sure if they recorded that before he denounced the faith or
they did.
You know what I'm saying? Okay. But yeah, that was pretty dope. If I was Andy Mineo, I would have not took a shot at him, but I would have made a reference to it and then used his own voice. It's like, what you not gonna do? You know what I'm saying? It's like, and then I would have rapped something in relation to what was going on. But that's just me because I'm petty. So I would have did that. That would have been fire.
Wow.
That would have been fire.
You're not gonna do.
You know what I'm saying? And be like, I'm never gonna denounce the faith. You know what I mean? That would have been ill. Andy Mineo always introduces us to these new dope female voices. And I'm not sure if they're new to everybody, but they was new to me. So the first joint I heard when I heard him and Eris do a joint. I was like, this girl Eris is fire. Let me go find out what's going on with her. And then on this joint, this chick named Ink. I don't know who that is, but she was crazy dope. Mm-hmm. Those vocals were amazing on that song. That's my favorite song on the album. It's Cross My Heart. And then of course he did Coming In Hot with Lecrae. But that song's kind of old. I don't know why he put that on there. That song's mad old. But yes, I enjoyed the album. He's rappity rap, you know what I'm saying? And after my first listen through, I was like, this isn't a rap album, it's a pop album. It felt popish. But then I heard it and I was like, it's still pop, but he's rapping. It's like white boy rap. Yeah. That's what I call this kind of rap. It's like white boy rap. You know what I'm saying? Like old school John Rubin, you know what I'm saying? That kind of stuff. But like he's probably like one of the best styles of white boy rap. You know what I'm saying? So,
if he wasn't a white boy, you wouldn't say that.
Yeah, I don't think he would either.
I don't think he would rap like that if he wasn't white. Well, he's not white. He's Sicilian and some other stuff. But
What are we talking about here? It's America.
But I don't.
He's very much.
I don't
white.
think. Yeah, I don't think he would rap like that if he wasn't white. I think he raps like that because like that's how white boys rap. Like, that's what they do. You don't think so?
Like Andy, I think Andy is an exception. Honestly, I mean, Andy be spitting like
he raps well. I'm not saying he doesn't rap well.
Yeah.
But like I knew that was a white person rapping. Let's say I didn't know who Andy was. Nah.
White boy rap to me is Machine Gun Kelly, Eminem, and
Eminem, for sure.
They all have that same, you know what I mean?
It's that sound.
Yeah.
KJ.
Andy to me too.
Yeah.
If I didn't know who Andy was, I could tell this is a white boy rapping. Because it's that same cadence. It's that same 1,000 bars.
It's the same cadence?
I do.
Oh,
to me, it is.
Okay.
So you could, if you didn't know Andy Mineo, you couldn't tell that was a white person rapping?
I don't know if I could not tell that it was a white person rapping, but I think that the way he delivers his bars are not typical for a white boy to me.
Gotcha.
That's true.
I agree. I mean, the first time I heard Andy, I saw Andy, right? And even as I heard him and saw him, I was actually trying to make him Latino in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
I think I did the same thing.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So I thought it was a good album. Nothing like spectacular, but I thought it was good. Like it definitely solid. Like it's a good effort. Not effort because that sounds like it's not good. It's a good album.
Trish, let me jump you and I'm gonna come back to you.
No, yeah, fine, that's fine.
So, this is one of them things, and actually Trish has been kind of talking this up a lot lately, and I might have to. I mean, I always kind of agreed, but even if I fight it, this is a really good album.
It really is.
And if Andy wasn't a CHH artist, the album would be respected a lot more than it's going to be respected.
For sure.
This is a really good project.
I'm not to cut you off, but this album, I wish was not a part of CHH, and that's just the truth. Like, because I agree with what you're saying. If it was not under the label of CHH, this joint would go crazy. Just like this whole. Go ahead. Sorry.
You're saying CHH as far as like the whole Christian music, or CHH as far as a subgenre of hip hop? So like if it was CCM.
No. We're talking about if it wasn't considered Christian at all.
Period.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, that part.
If people didn't look at Andy as a Christian artist. Period.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying?
If he was a Toby, if he was like in the space of where Toby is.
Yeah.
Because like.
Oh really?
Look at Toby. Look at Toby. Let's do a quick comparison. Look at Toby. Okay, his visuals are amazing. Okay, he got some dope songs. If we're talking about playback ability for a whole project, nah, not really. I don't listen to a full project of Toby's over and over again. Right? That's just me, and I don't know a lot of people who do. But this album, right, compared to a Toby and Wigway album, I don't think there's any the comparison for me is not there.
Gotcha.
I feel like this album is
Toby,
way better.
in my opinion, is not on that level yet.
No.
As far as the ability to create an album like
Masterful.
that, but Andy has more reps.
For sure.
Andy has more reps, right? I agree with Trish, and this is taking nothing. We're not trying to take anything away from Toby. Toby is an utter beast, right?
Amazing.
And creativity wise, he's really, really good.
For sure.
But in my opinion, this is every artist normally has somebody come along that hones it, and Andy's gotten to that part.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? This album and the growth of this artist is really, really, really impressive. You know what I mean? the lack of fakeness, addressing real issues.
Cussing.
He said the D word one time. That's it.
Right.
And it was after it was after the Robbie Zacharias Robbie what's the boy's name? It was Robbie, the Robbie line.
I mean, he said he cusses in real life, so.
He says that. Yeah, unfortunately, we know a lot of Christians that do that.
Listen, wait till I cannot wait until these Christian hip hop artists start cussing on records for real.
They're already doing it, man. Cussing.
I'm saying real cuss words.
It's the new fad,
as we've heard.
Like the F word.
They're saying
we heard that one already.
I'm on records?
Yeah.
Who's saying it on record?
Well, like,
who?
For one, Kristen did. Right. Yeah. Kristen did. For one, Christian Gray.
I mean, he don't count. I'm talking about Christian hip hop artists.
But what's his name? What's the boy that I think you was talking about initially, Bells? The dude from Louisiana, from the boat. Tony Richard Tony. Was it you that was talking about him? Maybe it wasn't. Richard. He's got a joint right now with Aha.
I think I don't know.
Anyway, he's a beast, and you can't listen to the music and not understand that he truly loves the Lord and has a relationship with God. But he will drop an S-bomb in that without even blinking. You know what I mean?
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, going back to the album, the growth of the artist, real life topics, man, it's just so refreshing. I mean, from listening to Priorities, like his ability to take a very meaty topic and make it almost commercial like is impressive. Priorities, you know what I mean? And it's, for one, the hook, it sounds good and all that, but the stuff he's talking about, you know what I mean? Trying to prioritize his time into different things of that nature. Beautiful. He did the same thing with the song Trying. And pretty much just talking about all the stuff he's trying to do that he's not doing, you know what I mean? Or whatever the case may be. And the way he did in the song Trying, he pulled a Kendrick, which might be pulling an Eminem, but I'm going to say it's a Kendrick. When you start with a certain rhyme scheme, and then by the end of the joint, you're rapping really, 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 really fast, or whatever the case may be. So that there was just so much good songs, good meat on that. Even the joint with Joseph Solomon. I saw, Joseph was on the track, and I started to kind of raise the eyebrows or whatever the case may be. But now I can't stop saying, what you're not gonna do. I can't. Like, I'm literally saying it everywhere I go, or my kids have done something recently, and I'm like, what you're not gonna do. like for real. So the album is really, really good. I really was trying to hate on the song about his father, the Nobody's Coming song, or whatever the case may be. But even listening to that piece of work, by the end of the songs, just everything's going on to the intro. We haven't even talked about the intro of the album, the falling, and just the bigness of that sound, the theatrics there. He definitely pulled a Donda better than Kanye when it came to what his mother's clips, and he did that way better than Kanye did it. You know what I mean? I'm not necessarily talking album wise. I'm just talking about as far as infusing his mother into certain parts and whatever the case may be. Excellent job doing that. I am really impressed by his growth and his artistry. And as a CHH advocate who hates to talk about removing the CHH title, I am listening to the project thinking, man, if this didn't have CHH on it, this project would be probably through the roof, as far as acclaim and acceptance and things of that nature. So,
you think so?
Shouts out to Andy. Really, really solid project. I believe so.
I don't know. I feel like that.
Because a lot of it. Okay, so, and this is another thing, right? And so I'm going to equate it to this, right? Eric Roberson is one of my favorite writers of all time.
Don't bring up era.
Okay.
First of all, what you
Hero
know about
is
Eric Roberson?
that's my guy. One of my favorite writers of all time. And he's written some of your favorite songs and you don't even know it.
You don't even
Christian
know it.
and non-Christian. Okay?
Freaking beast.
Hero was my guy until I got married. Which, funny enough, was around the same time Hero got married.
Interesting.
But I felt like I no longer could identify with his single writing. His writing was very single man writing.
That makes sense.
And I could no longer identify it now. I was now married, going through married and kid stuff.
Yeah.
And so I'll flip that, Goss, and say maybe you're not feeling the album as well because the stuff he's talking about is real deal married stuff. Like he's even talking about the joint. There's a song about I need you to remind me that you love me. That joint, and then I don't want your apology. I want you to change. I don't want your apology.
Yeah.
I want you to change. I want you to this is on some other type stuff. But if you're married, you kind of understand these conversations and stuff like that on another level. You know what I'm saying? And then just, and then I'm wrong. I'm wrong. There's plenty of stuff that I believe everybody can identify with on his project. But there are some things that are specific to being in a marriage. You know what I mean? And those different things. And just like I said, the growth of the artist, oh man, just impressive. And I believe if he didn't have that title on him, and that sucks, it really sucks. And I hate to be the one to say it because I'm such a CHH advocate. But yeah, I can't wait to listen to the Ebro interview that came out today with Andy.
Let me find out.
Yeah. Just to see kind of what Ebro vibes is getting or whatever. And it's Ebro, I think Sway, well, no. I just want to see what happens. I'm about to say something I didn't necessarily believe. With that being said, Trish, what you think about it?
I mean, everything you said, I agree with. Definitely impressive. I loved, like Bree said, what he did with implementing his mom, given that she passed away, and she was such a huge part of his life.
Oh, she died?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that. When did she pass?
And that's another element, right? It's about a year or two.
Oh,
maybe?
It had to be like 2, because it was before the pandemic.
But it was after he got married, though, too, right?
It was, yeah.
Oh, man, I didn't even know that. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like it was like right after they got married, but yeah.
I feel like you're right about that, yeah.
So just that, like, element was like, man, this is, just, it was good, but also like pretty heart-wrenching. But yeah, like the content, it's the content for me and the production. Like the production on, like when Falling came on, I was like, hold up. I said, wait a minute, what's this? I just wasn't expecting it to hit like that. I mean, Been About It, like, the drill with Words Played, that, like, all these joints hit, like,
the drill. Even the joint with Lecrae was like another coming in hot.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I loved it. Like all throughout, like I agree with Corey saying that there were elements of pop there, but he's still like rapping. I don't really like that sound, that pop sound, but I actually could like appreciate it and like listen to it because he was it's the delivery. Like Andy never bores me. Like he never really bores me, and
that's a good point.
I think that's why I appreciate just his style and his ability to just like just approach a track with like differently. I feel like on for each track, he approaches it in an appropriate way. It's like, okay, for this track, it needs this type of vibe, and here I'm gonna give it this vibe, and it just matches. It just clicks. It just clicks. And this as a body of work, I feel like the body of work is so solid. Just like you were saying, quote, like this joint, man. If it didn't have the title of CHH, I really honestly I thought the same thing. I was like, yo, this joint is like really, really, really good. So yeah, I don't want to, repeat what y'all said, but I agree.
Yeah, man, you killed me with that, Trish, just because, again, I am such a CHH advocate, and I just, as I'm listening to this joint, I'm like, and a couple things, like, I'm listening to this joint, and I'm thinking to myself, in a sense, I'm thinking to myself, CHH is dead. Like, what's being put out right now it's not what we've really, it's not what we've used to CHH being. CHH is slowly dying, and gosh, really, Tony? CHH is slowly dying, and I'm not mad. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's weird.
I think you can say that.
No.
I think we all can say that, or some of us can say that. I'll say that. I don't want to speak for everybody, but I think some of us can say that even with our advocating for it and trying to fight for it to be better and fight for it to be, everything that it needs to be, right? But it's just not, excuse me, it just hasn't been that. You know what I'm saying? It just hasn't been what we want it to be. And it's like, at this point,
Yeah, the blend right now, and of course you see Toby doing this always, and I used to say D1. I mean, just the blend right now, from the Kendricks to the Kanye to the Justins, it's just the blend of mainstream and Christian and music and these topics and referencing God or Jesus, and it is so blent right now. Like, like,
y'all need to hear Swoop's sermon about this. Swoop preached about this.
I saw from the clip that he preached about it, but from what I heard about the clip, and you tell me if I'm wrong because I didn't hear the whole sermon, it seems like he's pretty much, to an extent, agreeing with what I'm saying. Like, I'm seeing.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he's
Donda sit with David. That's the whole thing.
And say that again.
Can Donda sit with David? As far as Donda representing this thing that we call the world, and David representing this thing that we call holy, but David, was like the thing, the person,
the Psalms versus Donda per se.
Right. So his whole thing, his whole thing was, can we have David and Donda at the same table?
Yeah,
it was a really good talk.
I remember one of the clips, he started to read one of the Psalms, and then he went right from that Psalms without stopping into a Donda lyric. And you could tell from the audience, especially from the audience he was talking to, that everybody, they didn't realize he had went from the scriptures into a Donda lyrics. Now, of course, because I had heard Donda 50 million times, I knew immediately what he had done. He did the Brie Babineau portion of the Donda joint. But yeah, that's the vibe I got listening to Andy's joint. I loved it. Thought it was great artistry, great growth as an artist. And somehow, some way, it feels like CHH is dead.
No, gospel rap is back, like 1K Few said.
Well, maybe CHH is dead, and maybe gospel rap is back. We'll see. I don't know. We'll definitely see. But yeah, that's Neverland II, Andy Mineo. We've been through a gamut of topics tonight, just doing what we do here with the Tastemakers Pod. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to comment. Let us know exactly what you're thinking, whatever the case may be.
And make Trish tell me about these girls that she got so far, so-called You know what I'm saying? She never ate
So-called.
Trish. Yeah, so-called. Nobody ever seen him yet. But if y'all watched the last episode, apparently Trish got all these girls she knows that are single and bad. And we'll see. Nobody has yet to see him yet. We'll see.
What? I mean, if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen a couple of them.
I ain't seen none of them.
Okay.
Well, we are the Tastemakers. That's Trish.
Let me go look real quick.
That is Light Skin Corey. That's Brita. I'm Quote. Like and subscribe and comment. Tell a neighbor, tell a friend. We appreciate y'all tuning in.
Gang, gang.